Hello and welcome to a Warframe video. So I've been holding back in making this video, well, not making the video, but more specifically playing as Ember because I wanted to like take my time before I went to her nerf to see just how badly her nerf was. And as I was playing her, trying to level her up for new builds and stuff, and basically just using her for the first time ever since Shrine of the Eidolon came out, I have noticed that it is a bad day for every Ember Prime or Ember users out there because this nerf is absolutely devastating. It is the single most worst nerf that could ever have existed in a Warframe game. In a Warframe game? In Warframe, basically. So the reason why Ember Prime and Ember in general was actually nerfed was because of her World on Fire. Her ability to essentially melt any low-level enemy in a low-level mission almost instantly, before any other person had the chance to even blink or move. And of course, some new players thought that was annoying because it kind of destroyed their experience. They were just, going in and wanting to like shoot enemies and test their weapons, test this new weapon, whatever it is, this new Warframe maybe, and level them up and explore the missions. And suddenly they have a random player joining in who has an Ember, who's rocking on Ember, and just melts everything. On a personal note, though, I mean, if you don't want other players to like disrupt your gameplay, why not play solo? Why go public? That's what I don't understand. You see, that's where the problem begins. People are just complaining for no reason when the problem the way to solve this problem is already in their power. They don't want a player to be like they don't want an Ember to melt everything for them. They don't want a player to carry them or to force them to become useless. Well, why don't you just play on your own? Or if you want to play with some other people, then you can go to either friends only or invite only, or go to the recruiting chat. Say, I am a low-level player who's looking for another low-level player, so we can make progress together and keep going. And do it, and basically have people join that way. Just don't use an Ember because she's a big pain and stuff and so forth. So yeah, that would have been that's basically right there. That's a solution for that problem right there. Except that no, they had to just complain, and of course, devs would have to like address that issue and get to it. Obviously, they ended up nerfing a Warframe that has been loved by a lot of people, including myself. I've literally built the regular Ember before I was able to get my Ember Prime. With the recent unvoltings, I was just forced to use regular Ember, and due to Warframe slots and the lag, I had to make her, sell her, and I did that like 3 to 4 times in a row. I literally was willing, when I had the spare Warframe slot, I definitely wanted to get her back because I really loved using her. Even though on higher level difficulties, she would basically melt. Because of the Ember is good at dealing damage. She is good at destroying enemies, and before they have the chance of destroying her. Unfortunately, with her recent nerf, that is no longer a thing because she can be melted on the spot, thanks to the players aimbotting. The enemies aimbotting. They can pretty much. It doesn't matter whether you're dodging or running or whatever. If they see you in their sights, they will kill you. And using an Ember the way she is right now on, say, an open world environment like the plains or so, that would suck, as you would just be killed before you could even activate your powers, or so forth. So, yeah, currently this is by far the most devastating nerf ever. So, the way the nerf, the changes to Ember were essentially her first power can now be charged to basically do to deal more damage, have more AOE, and also leave like a napalm effect on the environment. Practically, I find that to be completely useless because the charge time takes too long for that thing to build up. The damage is almost irrelevant, and the napalm effect eventually goes away, which is just wasted effort and time. By the time you activate that power, you're already being damaged, you're dying, and by the time you actually use that power, you probably already took your health is probably already destroyed. So on higher level missions, that's practically useless. Her accelerant is still the only thing that can actually keep you alive when you're being surrounded. So thankfully they didn't touch that much. Her fire blast now apparently when you're basically shooting through the fire blast, the AOE that the fire blast creates. You can like you get fire thingies. I honestly haven't noticed anything about that. It's like it's a change that I barely even noticed. Is it even there? Is it even? I don't even know if it's actually even there. And of course is the World on Fire changes. The World on Fire changes are probably the worst because now we have a timer that counts upwards, and the more it goes upwards, the more energy we consume when you use World on Fire, and the more your range decreases. Your range is almost like it's oh my goodness, the range is horrible. And that's basically that was the beauty of World on Fire, the ability to essentially uh, melt enemies, deal damage to enemies before they got close to you. That's how Ember was able to survive, by killing them before they can kill her. Now that no longer exists because now the range is so short, it practically destroys your ability to kill enemies who are on a long range. And that can be a big problem, especially in higher difficulties, as enemies, most of the enemies are like, they will essentially shoot at you and they will melt you on the spot, which is a problem. So by far, Ember right now, unless you actually committedly build her and try to, find a way to reverse the changes are still there, they're still bad. Ember, instead of giving a buff to Ember to make her survive a little bit longer for higher difficulties, we got a nerf that basically makes her even less good on higher difficulties. And that's basically that's basically the whole thing. The whole reason this nerf existed was because, well, because low level players were complaining apparently, which is unfortunately it's unfortunate. And that was basically unfortunate. It is truly unfortunate that the developers of the game, when there is a complaint about like a Warframe being too powerful or anything, like that's the whole point of a Warframe, to be powerful. Isn't that why we play as Warframes? Isn't that why people fell in love with Ember? Because of her power, to feel that strength to destroy enemies. That was the whole point of her, and she did have a really huge downside with her survivability, so she was already perfect. The nerf was unnecessary. As for the problem for low level players to basically not want to have an Ember because she's just annihilates everything, that could have been dealt with a completely different way. How? The way I see it, the way they could have fixed this without ever having to touch Ember was simply allow players to become public hosts, because the way the matchmaking works when you are on public is it basically turns you into a quick match. You will go into whoever already is in a game, you will basically join him randomly if there is space. And this also leads to you being essentially joining players who are mid-game and so forth, which I find to be kind of a bit boring. I would love to start the game with the players in general, but anyways, that's not a really big problem. So essentially, that's how matchmaking works. Basically, a player starts the game, and whoever is there, if there's an available space, you will either join another player, or if there isn't, you will automatically become the player's host. What would have been beneficial for both new players and even veterans or experienced players is the ability to selectively publicly become the host. So essentially what you're going to be doing is you could essentially choose when you're in a public game to be its host, instead of just, if there is a game available, I just join in, or if there isn't, I become its host. I become selected as a host. I think the problem would have been a lot better if people had the ability to, selectively become hosts of the game, and on top of that, maybe choose who they want to have join them. What kind of players do they want to join them? Do they want to be in the same rank as them, like master rank maybe, or maybe at least like 5 levels below, or 5 levels like above or something, or even better, the ability to go to the settings in the game and select, I don't want, of all the Warframes that exist in the game, I don't want an Ember to exist in my team. I host the game, and if a player tries to join in with an Ember, it just says, this player doesn't allow Ember because obvious reasons. If he's a veteran, then he probably already knows the reasons. So instead of, and that pretty much will, and I think that will actually encourage people to play as something else. I mean, I haven't seen a Trinity go into a public game, but if you want to do the alert and you want to, well, the reason why people join in public matches is not because. The only reason is because it's not fun to play alone. It's the reason why, if you have a problem with other people, well, just play solo. But no, it's annoying. It's boring. It's, well, not annoying. It's basically just boring. It's nice to see other people. It's nice to see what other players have created, what warframes they've chosen, what fashion frame they have, what builds they're using, what kind of their approach to the game. And we have probably, while playing Warframe, have been more influenced from random players than we have from the players that we know or play with. Like, oh, I see this random player, he looks awesome, I should probably, dress up the same way he does because it's awesome, and maybe add some of my own touch. Maybe this player has a really powerful weapon that deals massive amounts of damage. Oh, I want this gun. Where is this gun? I look for it. So public matches are actually, like, they're a good thing. They allow you, they encourage the experience until you have a player who decides they want to, skip the whole mission and just get it done. And obviously this leads to, the problems that we have right now. So being able to to become selectively the host of the game, and being able to disable, like, oh, I don't want this Warframes to be to join me. Whoever you are, I don't care who you are, you can be however you want, you can choose whatever strategy you want, but I don't want you to have these Warframes because they will ruin my experience. Whether I'm a new player or a veteran player, whatever. I think that would have been a far better solution than nerfing a frame that actually needed a buff for higher difficulties to begin with. This frame Ember was essentially good at melting low-level players. But then again, every Warframe has the ability to do that. Have you gone into a low-level defense and used Oberon? Yeah, it's like, yeah, you basically, everything dies before anyone does anything. It's the exact same thing as having an Ember with her wall on fire. Banshee, right now, she may no longer be an AFK farmer, but she is still a nuke frame. She practically destroys everything before anything has a chance. So she is essentially what Ember was, with a proper build on her Resonating Quake. Yeah, she can pretty much destroy everything. She's even more powerful than what she used to be, because now she doesn't consume large amounts of energy. She can destroy everything and keep on the go. If anything, the way she was nerfed was actually the good nerf. Banshee is the exact opposite of nerf, of the exact opposite of Ember. Her nerf was a good one. It made her more playable, removed the the laziness that players had of doing an AFK farm, and made her more engaging, more interesting, and quite frankly also made her a lot better at surviving higher level difficulties with the proper build. So if anything, Banshee is a good example of nerfing, the way I see it. Although she is still quite powerful, and considering that she nukes low level missions almost like it's nothing, I can imagine her being nerfed again soon because, well, player demands, apparently. But yeah, Ember is basically an example of bad nerfing. It's truly just, I mean, people still use her because they love her. They she's a Warframe that really grows on you. She is a very good damage dealer. Well, she was, and a good crowd controller. And currently, it's just her nerf just makes her really horrible, and the increase in damage is pointless because you have to be close to enemies to deal that damage, like really close. Like, I'm not even joking. In order to counteract some of that range nerf, you actually need to have an overextended and a streamline, a stretch on you, and even a cunning drift, and that means overextended. Obviously that means less damage, which means you have to put some damage, which essentially renders you're basically playing with damage and range just to counteract the nerf, while your survival is pretty much stuck into nothing. So if anything, you're stuck. For every step you take forward, you take another step backwards. So that's how bad her nerf is. And like I said, my suggestion I think was actually the best way to fix this problem, essentially allowing players to selectively become the host of the game and also choose, like maybe in an options menu or a setting in the settings, like what warframes do they want to, when they are public hosts, what warframes do they want to join them, you know? Maybe for the first time they can, you know, maybe, oh, I am a tank, I want this damage dealer, I want warframes, I want this supports, maybe we'll be able to see some more supports. Essentially give players some more control with, basically give players the control to choose who can join them. That would have fixed every problem, and every nerf would have been completely unnecessary if this was the case. That's the way I see it. That is my honest opinion, and that is, I think, the best solution for all the oh, this warframe is too overpowerful, or I mean, come on, you don't, who, when you are using that warframe, when you are using that weapon, do you really don't want to be powerful? Do you not like the idea of melting enemies instantly? Come on, every player likes that sense of power. Isn't that why we love Warframe? Because we can build our weapons and our Warframes into insane levels of damage, able to, like, just as when you essentially nuke a level 100 enemy and destroy them, the sense of accomplishment from barely defeating enemies who are level 30 all the way to, like, wrecking enemies who are level 100, that's a huge, like, satisfaction right there. And that is what experienced players and veterans are really loving about. You see them doing builds that melt level 150s and so forth, and it's like, yeah, that's actually satisfying. And yeah, that was the whole point of Warframe, to be powerful. And when I heard about all the buffs, currently all the buffs for each Warframe is perfect. The nerfs, Banshee's nerf was fine, I can understand it, it was good, it made the frame better, but her Ember's nerf was horrible, and there were so many other ways to get rid of that problem that it was, the nerfing the Warframe is unnecessary. If anything, I prefer that it's better to buff them to increase their survivability, or maybe if they lack some power to do so, rather than nerfing them. I mean, that's what I believe. That is my honest opinion. Now, I don't know what yours opinion is, but you know, what is your opinion? If you have an opinion, make sure to leave it down in the comments below. This is the way that I see it. This is the way that I believe they could have made their approach with Ember, because the whole point was not that Ember is powerful or too powerful. Is the fact that people were complaining about, you know, being low leveled and having an Ember join their team to, you know, and basically wrecking everything. A problem which would have not been there in the first place if they either chose to play with friends, went into their recruiting chat, played solo, played with friends only, or had the option to selectively choose, you know, to be the host of the game and selectively choose what warframes they want and what warframes they don't want. That's the best approach that I believe would have been better. Now, I don't know about you guys. I find this nerf to be the very worst nerf of a warframe that is loved by almost everyone who starts owning her. So, I don't know. Let me know down in the comments your guys' opinion. What do you think would have been a better idea or a better solution? And yeah, stay cool. And I'll see you later. Bye.